Did you know that 89% of adults experience stress during the holidays, with family conflict and expectations at the top? It's not surprising, is it? So many of us wish the holidays were the jolliest season of all. We long for the family get togethers that look like the movies, or at least our idealized version of reality. But the truth is that the holiday season is usually very stressful for most people. For women, like my client who recently sent, I've spent my life serving everybody else and never prioritizing myself. The holidays become hotspots that bring up all of our unprocessed stuff about family, holidays, and expectations. If you're like me, you're the one who invites people into your home. You plan the menu, you clean and cook and take care of everyone because you want everyone to have a good time. You see, if everyone has a good time, then we feel valued. That's why we do those things, because we want to be valued. We have an underlying belief system that says, when my family gets along, they value me for helping. I am valuable. I mean, that may or may not be true, but it's the undercurrent that runs the show for most women, at least the ones that I have the privilege of working with. So, given that it's after Halloween and the Christmas craze is about to start, I would love to help you have the best holiday season of your entire life. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what to pay attention to so you navigate the season with grace. The first thing that I want you to be mindful of is that your body responds in a fraction of a nanosecond to that which feels off. Oops, I already talked about this. Your body responds in a nanosecond to that which feels off, which means that things like microaggressions and triggering comments are detected by the body way before your conscious awareness actually catches up. So your body will experience the physiological changes like a tight chest or a throat constriction or shoulder tension or gut drops, and that'll be immediate. It'll experience these changes immediately after the perceived stress is registered, miles before you can name, well, what just happened. So with that in mind, because your body's giving you information about what to pay attention to at all times, the trick is to learn how to listen. So I explored that in our last month's workshop, Pain as Portal, where I give you all the details of how this actually unfolds and what to pay attention to. If you're curious, you can grab that on our website. But what are some microaggressions and triggering comments that you might experience anyway? So here are 6 that are backed by stress research that you might find interesting. Let's start with the helpful critique, everyone's favorite. So here's a comment. Have you thought about using the red table runner instead of the green? Says your mother-in-law. You know, she shows up and she points out all the things that you did almost right. A moment of ripping down the hard work you've put in so that the power dynamics balance in her favor. That moment is critique that's disguised as help, but your body knows it isn't, and it will let you know. The second thing is politics at the table, everyone's favorite. This is very common bait that's often disguised as casual conversation. It's not, and you know the difference. So, and I'm not saying that you should avoid politics at all costs, but you should certainly be mindful of the tone and the nature of what's being shared so that it's a conversation for exploration, not a battle to be right for one's beliefs, because those are not the same things. And the body will tell you. The third is gift judgment. All right, you ready for this? The average Canadian household spends $975 on Christmas gifts each year, and about $1,500 to $1,800 for the holiday season. Wow. You can see how this alone would stress people out. Of course, it stresses me on their behalf, to be honest. But now add to that the familiar expectations of what gifts are appropriate and what gifts aren't, and quite frankly, you've got a recipe for lasting stress. The next one is parenting or life advice that you didn't ask for. So we all have at least that one relative that tells us how to live our life better according to them. They have examples of how your life sucks, and they have a mental plan of how you should fix it. It's easy, they'll say. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt for a moment and say that they mean well. Sure, but how do you feel in the presence of that conversation? Your body will tell you. The next thing is old role assignment. So what I mean by that, and this is one of my all-time favorites, is that this is how Stella is. This is just how she is. That's the box that we like to put people into because it's familiar. It's an is. People respond to you as if you are who you were 20 years ago or 30 years ago, leaving no room for noticing who you may now have become. So how have you now changed? So these presuppositions are in, and curiosity about who you are is out the window, which is of course very stressful because it's not who you are and you know that. The next thing is time and hosting pressures. So this one can be a little bit tricky because it's another is. So for example, we always host Christmas dinner. If we don't do it, who will? If I don't do this in the way that I've always done it, it'll never get done. So these are the types of internal and often external pressures that we feel when it comes to hosting, and maybe letting dear old dad overstay his welcome despite the stress that it causes our family. So these are the things that I'm talking about. So I hope you can see that although the holiday season is proclaimed to be the most wonderful time of the year, and, for maybe 11% of the people it is, it comes with immense pressure to perform, to be someone that you are not for the purposes of keeping it together or keeping the peace or whatever it is that you actually tell yourself. Here's what I want you to walk away with from this exploration. A trigger starts in the body. A trigger starts in your body, not in the room. Your job is to notice the first sensation and to learn how to trust it. Because after all, your body has an early warning system. Things like your chest, I guess I didn't put that in. Well, I'll read it anyway. Your chest tightens when expectations of self or other aren't being met. Your throat constricts, so like coughing, anyone around that time of year? Your throat constricts when you hear a thought you want to say but you don't dare say out loud. That throbbing in the right hip shows you your boundaries are being crossed. The IBS symptoms show up in the moment your mom criticizes your table. Your shoulders tense when you feel responsible for carrying your daughter's intense emotions. So these are some examples for you to consider because these triggers start in your tissue and they can only be processed through your body. So next week, I'll be sharing with you a bit more about the power of the early warning systems and how to pay attention to them, including what questions to ask yourself as you notice the internal pressure arising. So stay tuned. But for those who want to go deeper, we will cut. For those who want to go deeper, I love that that's a to-do picture there. Haha, yes, to-do. Add this on your list. For those that want to go deeper, I have an upcoming workshop coming up, Staying Centered in the Holiday Chaos. Because every single woman I work with, as most of the people out there, brings up that the holidays are one of the hardest times of the year. There's that pressure to hold it together, the comments that you pretend didn't hurt, quiet, exhausting work of managing other people's emotions just so you can make it through dinner. So that's why I created this workshop, and this is what we'll be going through. We will going through the 4-part wall systems process of how do you stay present enough, awake enough to notice what's actually going on so you can name it. Because until you name it, you can't claim it. It is in the claiming whatever it is that's going on that you can choose differently, and when you choose differently, you can change it. So we'll go through this for the first half hour or so, and then there will be optional hot seat coaching so that we can practice this. What does this actually look like in real time? And this year I'm doing something, or this month rather, I'm doing something pretty special, which I've never done before, is I'm offering private Telegram space for live attendees only. So this is asynchronous coaching for a few days after the workshop, 5 days after the workshop, where you can ask me your questions as they come up through text or through voice, and we'll stay connected in that way so that you know you're not alone, so that you know you've got this. So if you're not familiar with Telegram or asynchronous coaching, I'll be happy to introduce you to it because it's pretty awesome. Ask me a question. What is it? Email me. Let me know if you have any questions about that. So this is the workshop, Staying Centered in Holiday Chaos. If you would like to join us on November 27th, you're welcome to join us. The first portion will be available for sale afterwards, but if you're curious about how to actually not only learn about this stuff, but how do you apply it in your real life, and if you want that sweet bonus, reserve your spot and let's talk about how to stay centered in the holiday chaos. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a spectacular rest of the day, and I look forward to staying connected.